Live from New York, it's Ding, Ask an Engineer.
Ask an Engineer with my friend texting me. Hi everybody, it's me, LadyAda, the engineer with me, Mr. LadyAda. We're here at the Adafruit factory, so where we do all the design, manufacturing, testing, kitting, shipping of the electronic goodies that you love. It's the 100-plus team of busy bee New Yorkers all working together to make this happen. But for the next hour, we're going to stream into your eyeballs the latest news and updates and videos and products from around the Adafruitiverse. The Fruitiverse? The Adaverse? I don't know. Kick it off, Mr. LadyAda. What's on tonight's show?
All right. Those jokes are too easy. Any verse jokes, I'm just going to stay away from now because, like, you know, all that crazy.
What?
Because, like, there's meta, there's the metaverse, and all that stuff.
Oh, sorry. I was actually just thinking of, like, you know, the
I
universe
like the Spideyverse. Okay.
Spideyverse.
On tonight's show, the code is Interstate. Code is 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Add stuff to your cart. You get free stuff. We'll talk about that. And then some more tonight once LadyAda tells you what the free things are. But you could start loading up your cart now and put the code in. Talk about our live series of shows, including Show and Tell, do time travel, look around in the world of makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. Help wanted, a bunch of jobs in the jobs board this week. And you can also post your skills if you're looking for a cool gig. Main New York City factory footage, 3D printing, Ion MPI, brought to you by DigiKey and Adafruit. We got some new products. We got some super cool top secret. We're going to answer your questions. We do that over on Discord, adafruit.it/discord or discord.gg/Adafruit, where you can join all 32,000 of us. We're almost up to 33,000. It'll probably happen the next couple days or so. All that and more on this show, Ask an Engineer.
Yay.
Okay, let's pay some bills first. So please, everybody, use this code, Interstate, 10% off in the Adafruit store. LadyAda, they get free stuff when they add things to their cart. What do they get?
That's true. $99 or more, they get Perma-Proto half-size breadboard. $149 or more, you get a choice of different STEMMA QT boards. $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping. Those are the freebies right now.
Okay. We do a live series of shows. We just finished up with Show and Tell. Thank you, Noah and Pedro, who did Show and Tell. We had a video show today with Hackaday on the Hack Chat.
So many shows.
And then it's been really busy here at Adafruit. The demand is really high for all the things that we make and sell. We've been hiring a bunch of folks. We've been in the recovery mode from the last couple years. So it's just been really busy. It's been 24/7. So sometimes when the Show and Tell is happening, we don't want to stop doing it, so we have a team, and Noah and Pedro were doing it. Sometimes JP does it. By the way, happy birthday, JP. And then on Sunday, we have a show called From the Desk of LadyAda.
Yes.
And this one, we do it in two parts. So the first part, you're usually talking about things on your desk.
Oh, I designed so much hardware. So I showed some of the designs that I worked on. I worked on this ice tube Trinky because I got some SAMD21 E18s. I got like a reel that I ordered like 9 months ago, finally came in, so I can do some more Trinky designs. So I showed off using how to interface with the VFD tube. I also showed off, I think, the iSpy STEMMA QT breakout and a 1.9-inch TFT, and I think I also showed off an INA 228 or like a Pico QT. I don't know. I should have a bunch of hardware designs. I actually don't remember anymore.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot. That's why we have the show.
Sorry.
And then we do this thing called the Great Search, and the Great Search is where LadyAda uses her powers of engineering to show you how to find things on digikey.com. What were you looking for this week?
Oh, well, this week I was looking for a low-cost, actually it's funny, like I was searching for something and what I was normally going to show off wasn't in stock, but I found an alternative, and I think I'm actually might use the alternative part. So I learned something on this Great Search is a low-cost, low-current 20 to 30 volt boost converter. These are often used as biases, bias voltages for VFDs or OLEDs. You know, if you're using a smaller voltage, sometimes you can go with a switch cap converter, which will give you like 5 to 6 volts. But sometimes you really just need like 20 to 30 volts. Not a lot of current, maybe like 10, 20, 30, maybe 50 milliamps, but you need a little bit. But there's some pretty low cost boost converters that you can get. And I showed one, I think it's the AP2102, which has a very nice input range, a very nice output range, a little boost converter. You know, high frequency and a fair amount of current. So a nice little chip is like 20 cents, 30 cents. Great deal.
Okay. Then on Tuesdays we do JP's product pick of the week. Watch that over on YouTube. We record those, we put those up. And then JP has a show tomorrow, which is John Park's workshop. And I want to do a little bit of a preview. So a lot of the early maker stuff that happened was I think the first time there was a combination of like old meets new. So there was rotary phone stuff.
Yeah.
SparkFun did a thing, I did a thing, had stuff going on at Make. We've recently been posting up some retro photo sets.
Yeah.
I have a Princess phone over there. But JP's working on this really cool thing. You'll see, and you'll want to see this on Thursday. It's a rotary phone project. So here's a little preview.
Okay.
And then JP has a segment called the
Hello?
CircuitPython Parsec. I'm not going to play the video because I think we've got a bunch going on tonight, but you can watch it on any of our video channels. So in case you haven't seen a rotary phone, because like some people haven't, I have to remember that. This is one from one of the photo sets we recently did. This is a Princess phone. And
Yes, this is the handset.
yeah,
And then
it's not a game controller for, you know.
I don't think anybody
game,
believes that.
Xbox.
But yeah, you would dial. When I was a kid, we had one. We quickly went to touch tone, but you know, you had to pay for tone service. Remember that? They would add like $1.50 charge to your phone bill, which is kind of stupid.
Yeah, some things change and some things haven't. Phone companies still kind of figure out a ways to charge for
But
almost anything.
This was a Bell. This is an original Princess. You can even see barely it says Princess from the
Yeah.
Bell system. And this is like, it weighs like 30 pounds. It's a hefty.
It's heavy.
But it's a very nice pink color. It's from Western Electric, made in the USA. This is the C3.
Yeah, and then you know during different times there was a Cold War. So this is a different type of phone. This is a phone from Russia, and it can only do one thing. It can only when you pick it up, it calls the Kremlin, or if it rings, it's the Kremlin calling you. And this
So rad.
Isn't this neat? Yeah. And
Oh,
so,
yeah, wow. It even says made in USSR.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I have the original box for it, and you can see there's no buttons on at all. So put this underneath the.
cool.
It looks like a 3D model that someone printed.
Yeah,
off.
this is like from another world or somewhere.
Yeah, and you don't need to dial anyone. Just the Kremlin. The Kremlin calls
They
you.
call you,
Yeah.
and the Russia phone call
So
you.
this is what it
Okay.
is. Yeah.
And then it looks like this, and then there's an extension marker on the bottom. It looks like they could put like one button on it.
Maybe.
And then here you can see it says made in USSR.
Yeah. And so.
And there's like two huge bells in the back. Look at these gigantic
well,
bells out.
when they call.
Yeah, you want to pick it up.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah,
have
if you don't pick it up,
you
you're
don't have a choice.
you don't really. Yeah, you're not
So
gonna make
that's
it.
that.
This is gorgeous though. Look at this beautiful design. Really.
Yeah. And so yeah, you hang on to that.
Okay.
And then
This is the thing. You'd put your phone like this,
yeah, so we'll.
and then your neck would hurt because you'd be calling your friends for so long.
So we'll show the better the photos that we have. We just put up, but this is a clear phone. This is the Bell South version. Radio Shack made one, but there was this trend for a while where there was clear phones.
Clear phones were just like the
Yeah.
thing.
And so there you go.
It's a Bell South clear phone. I mean, this
And-
is a pretty. I mean, like they painted the PCB and like the
Yeah, there's all
capacitors
sorts
look
of
cool,
neat
and there's like this neon
And then
bulb. 2 neon bulbs.
Yeah, and then the other last thing, and this is a modern thing. This is Fisher Price. Someone had said, "Oh, you should make this into a Bluetooth phone." So this is the Fisher Price Bluetooth phone, and it acts as a Bluetooth headset. And when the eyes move around.
Do it,
on it.
what, like for real? Like you purchased it like this, or it was
Yeah,
modded?
this comes from Fisher Price, just like this.
Oh, yeah?
You move the wheels around, and
Yeah, it looks like there's a battery charge.
yeah,
on
you
the
charge
back.
it up. You can use it as a
Oh, it's
headset.
USB-C, so this is really modern.
Yeah, you use it as a headset. You can dial, you can do things. So there's a few things. We're going to take it apart. Sorry, little guy. Just the way it is when you.
I'm actually kind of curious how that would
Oh, yeah.
be used inside, because this is interesting.
Yeah, this is what we do here. Okay, so I'll show some of the
Oh,
pictures.
2021. This is very recent.
Yeah, this just came out.
Okay.
So adding that to the collection. So on Friday, speaking of live shows and more, Deep Dive with Scott. Scott will be around on Friday doing his show. And do catch it now, because Scott's going to be away for a bit, but he will be back. And meanwhile, Film Guy will be doing some of the shows on Friday.
Yeah.
So I think Scott's doing a recap of all the CircuitPython 2020 stuff. I'm going to be doing that shortly. Let's do some other time travel.
Okay.
Time travel, look around the world, makers, hackers, artists, engineers. First up, if you go to our blog, there's a couple things going on. First up, Happy Chinese New Year. It's the year of the water tiger. And it's also Black History Month. For us, we reflect on the contributions of the Black community and the struggle for equality. There's a lot of things going on here in New York. There's lots of legacies and achievements of Black New Yorkers, and this is one of the things that we're very proud of. We do every year. Check out our website. You can see some of the stories. There's a lot of stories that haven't been told. We're just an electronics company, but we have what we think is a pretty nice editorial section on our blog. So you can look at each year. You can go by each day. We usually have something each day. Today's the second. And you can see some of the events. There's a lot of stuff going on here in New York City as well. And for Chinese New Year, check out some of the posts that we have that as well. And we wish everyone who celebrates a happy New Year. All right.
Yay.
So we have some other time travel stuff. So I've been posting up photos. This one I took with my black and white photo. This is a Next Mouse and a Sun mouse pad.
These are 2 bitchin' logos.
Yeah.
Look at that Sun logo. Could you
Yeah.
come up with a better logo? No, I don't think so.
It's a good logo.
a good one.
Yeah, and the next logo is up there. These are 2 of my favorite logos, and that's a mouse, and then that's a version of a mouse pad. It's a metal one for the specific type of mouse. We have a 30-plus-year-old box copy of HyperCard, and this is the first time it was ever opened. And the discs are still sealed, and so we'll be imaging these discs, and we'll be putting them up somewhere online so people can get the original downloadable copy.
Oh God, I really want to install this on something.
Everybody wants to install this. Then we have, this is real, this is Apple's Power CD. It was a CD player that could plug into your Mac, and you could listen to music. It came with a remote, and you can also do a
I
few
saw
other
this, like,
things.
look at this, like, beautiful, elegant, smooth design, and then it's like Gergonk Centronics SCSI connector
Yeah.
with like this
Wha-
wire tabs.
Why doesn't everything have a SCSI connector? Here it is. Different angles.
Gorgeous.
So we've been posting this up. The remote is also a kind of work of art. And then, as I said before, we have these photos of retro phones. So what we're trying to do, we started this project before COVID started, and we just had to put it on pause because it was, let's just survive the next, however long this takes. So we had some of these photos already, and then we resumed some of them. So I literally dusted off some stuff. This is a Sony Hipit. This is back when Sony was manufacturing computers the first time, back in the 80s. These are like really, really interesting. And then because it was in the news, Sony just bought Bungie. Microsoft bought Blizzard. So there's all this consolidation. Someone said, well, who's Apple going to buy? And Apple already did a game console. A lot of people don't know about this. This is from Bandai, and it's the Pippin AppMark. And it's a powered by Apple computer. I think there's something like a Quadra or like a PowerPC inside of it.
So cool.
And
I want to sell
yeah.
HyperCard on that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here is some AdaBox news. As you may know, we
Still
are
working on
doing... Yeah, we're still working on it. There's a little bit of a chip shortage out there, as you may know.
And Lunar New Year.
Yeah, and Chinese New Year and all that stuff that's going on. So we're shipping probably March. This is our winter edition, winter-spring edition-ish. So we will be running out of
I think we
slots.
ran out, actually.
I think we just did.
Yeah, we just did.
So that means...
Let's sign up.
Yeah, so that means that you can just go on the wait list. So if you go to adabox.com, put your email address in. When we have any openings, you'll get an email. But right now, I think we are full. So thank you everyone who signed up, and this will be an excellent AdaBox for sure. We added some more things. So we have this gallery of T-shirts. So people at Adafruit wear really cool shirts. A lot of them have skulls on it or something. And this is a rare one because it's not black. And this was Deal with the Devil. It's a cute shirt. And we put these in our gallery, adafruit.com/NFT. And in that gallery, you can see all the shirts that we have. I'm going to go to the gallery right now. And we also have some handy things for folks who do speaking agreements and stuff like that. So if you are worried about kind of like what happens with LadyAda, sometimes photographers take her picture and we have to make sure they don't turn her into an NFT. The gallery, of course, is a little bit of a joke. It's not we don't do NFTs, but this is nice frickin' T-shirts. So you can see all the T-shirts. We have a lot of comic book themed ones. This is Vance has an excellent collection of shirts. This is a Black Panther shirt that Vance has.
Well, it's actually a good idea because Vance has so many shirts that I kind of want to like photograph every day so we can actually determine how many shirts he has because like nobody knows.
There's a lot. And so you're probably saying, boy, this is nice and everything, but
I wish you did NFTs.
I wish you did NFTs with a plural, NFTs.
NFTs.
And so we do. So this is our big announcement. We're pleased to announce nice frickin' technology socks. These are floppy socks. This is in front of a Next carpet. This is in our apartment. And you can see the floppy stitch work on
That's
here.
nice.
These are my DigiKey socks. This is the Command Line Hero socks that Lamore got because...
I did a podcast.
Yeah, because Lamore was on a podcast. And then as soon as we started posting these online, someone said, hey, I've got Hackster socks.
So now we have a collection. Four is a collection.
Yeah, they're minty fresh. No gas fees were involved with this. So check it out, adafruit.com/NFT.
They get a little stinky though. Sometimes you don't wash them.
All right, other little bits of time travel this week. We did the hack chat. So go to hackaday.com. You can check out the transcript. You can also go on our YouTube channel or Twitch or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. And you can check out the live video that we did. We also showed a bunch of cool hardware that we've been working on.
It was nonstop floppy fun.
Yeah, and they made a great poster. Thank you, Alec, for the cool poster.
That's a nice poster.
As well. Okay, help wanted. Jobs on the Adafruit. The words are blending today. I've been up since 4. It's been a long day. Jobs at adafruit.com. LadyAda and I look at these jobs, make sure they're not scammy or sketchy. The real 3 things. Another one just came in, but came in right after I started doing the show. Director of the Schlepp Family Ideal Lab. Check that out. That's at Skidmore College. A firmware engineer for battery management at Analog Devices.
Ooh.
And a lead hacker at Hack Club.
In Vermont.
You
like hiking?
Yeah.
You like climbing mountains? You like the outdoors? Move to Vermont.
So check that jobs.adafruit.com. And you too can get that dream job you want. Or you can post up your skills and you can work for folks that are looking for things that you do. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
It's Python on Hardware time. All right. This week, and you can get this newsletter anytime, adafruitdaily.com. We don't spam. We don't harvest your email address. We don't do anything like that. So newsletter this week, lots of recaps of what's been going on. Floppy chat, what we just talked about. Apple is removing Python 2 and Mac OS 12.3. This is actually kind of a big deal.
Thank you so much.
They've been shipping this forever.
It's such a nightmare.
And then we tell people, hey, use Python, and there's a Python 2 already in.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And it's always like you have to update, and then everything's broken using Homebrew. I'm so glad they're going to be moving to Python 3. Hopefully 3.5. Hopefully they don't, at least, right? I hope they don't okay, it's 3.2.
We'll just skip to 4. And then there's CircuitPython SDK for cloud data. You can check that out. That's from Goliath. The PyCast celebrates 10 years of Raspberry Pi. New episodes with Lamore, Eben, and more. That's coming up February 15th. So
Oh,
not
goodness.
next week, the week
You
after.
got really, I got a schedule.
You're busy.
I'm booked.
Using ESP32S2 and CircuitPython to teach web security. Super important. And CircuitPython show will be coming out pretty soon. What's cool about that is we don't need to do it. It's a community-based show. Liz has a new MIDI guide with CircuitPython. And this week, the thing I wanted to talk about in the recap of recaps is the big thank you. So we put the call out, CircuitPython 2022, Happy New Year. And Scott has a summary post of all the things that people want to see in CircuitPython. It's a community-driven effort. So this is how we get all the ideas. This is how we work together. And what's cool is when you check back throughout the years, because we've been doing this for a while, you can see all the requests that came in, and then later on you can see, oh, we did this one, we did this one, we did this one. Oh, we're working on this one. Oh, we worked with MicroPython on this one. So just a quick thanks. Cycle Match, Jeff, Dexter, Kelly, Matt, Pierre, Blake BR, Retired Wizard, Mimas, John Hind, me,
Phil.
Patrick, Scott had some, Ann, Mark, Ken, Foamy Guy, Deshipu, MD Roberts, Tammy, Charlie, Gottlieb Dog, and
Go
Katney.
Little Dog.
Yeah, go little. Oh yeah, Gottlieb Dog. I thought it was Gottlieb for a second.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it does look a little
It
like
does
Gottlieb
look
Dog.
like that.
But it's a go little dog.
Go little dog.
Go pelican.
Yeah. So check out all of these because they have a lot of great suggestions, and this is, like I said, how we get things done. So thank you. We do this every year, and now it's time to get to work and get these things into CircuitPython. We have over 250 boards. Most of them aren't even from Adafruit, so things are working out. Learning Python could be intimidating. Doing electronics definitely is intimidating, but now you have the ability to do a little bit of both and get really far in the first, golden minute if you want to get that project going.
Yeah.
And easy to get going, and there's always something more to learn. So thank you everyone who participated in this and sent in their stuff. And that is Python on Hardware News this week.
Yeah, Blinka.
Okay, LadyAda, we are an open source hardware company. To prove it,
It's true.
we do a bunch of guides. I do have one bit of news, and this was just posted right before we went live, so I didn't get a chance to put it in the show. The Open Hardware Summit is going to be virtual again this year. Go to oshawa.org, check it out. The details are there. It's in April. We're a sponsor, and we'll be lurking around somewhere in some Discord or StreamYard or YouTube thing, so you'll see us. And if you couldn't travel to New York, this is your lucky day because it's virtual, so you'll be able to tune in and participate no matter where you are this year. Back to open source hardware, which we do, 2,617 guides. LadyAda, what's on the big board this week?
All right, we have some updated guides. I think Melissa updated this guide. We've also got some more updated product guides that have had the Arduino instructions and added. RP2040 now has a lot better Arduino support, and so Katney's been going through and mirroring in all the instructions and updating them. So if you have any of our existing RP2040 boards and you want to use them with the Arduino IDE, we now think it's totally ready for you to do that, and we've got board definitions in the Philhauer core. A lot of our libraries work. It's all well tested and happy. We've also got some new guides.
Yeah, we'll play that video after you leave that one for last.
From the right, we've got, actually also from the left, Katney wrote up the start of a guide for the arcade STEM IQT board. I know this board's been out for a bit, but between people being out and various things during the holidays, it was tough to get to it. But we now have a guide with Arduino and CircuitPython code, diagrams, and more. So you want to add arcade buttons using a quick connects for LED arcade buttons. We've now got a guide for that. We've also got a cool guide from Eva on taking an existing macro pad called the Maypad, and instead of using a Pro Micro with it, you can use a KB2040, which is an RP2040 designed for use in keyboard projects. And she got it working, and she posted up example JSON for key mapping, so you can really easily key map it in CircuitPython, but it fits perfectly on the board as expected. Noah and Pedro worked on a mini VU meter with Liz. We'll have a little video. And then Tim C., who's done a lot of really great display I/O projects, did a project to bring Nico Kitty, which was apparently it was for a lot of platforms, but I had it on my Mac SE30, and my Quadro 650 is a little cat that followed around your mouse. It was an adorable little extension for Mac System 7. And he ported it to Display I/O, and it works with any size screen. And it's a great little example of using a sprite sheet and animation. And it also shows the power of Display I/O. A lot of people are like, oh, why don't you just draw the whole screen? But if you have an animated sprite with a background, it automatically clips and only just shows the changed parts. And also you can touch on the touch screen to have the kitty follow your finger.
And we have a video. We're going to play that video.
Hello everyone. In this video I'll show you my latest CircuitPython project. This is a Display I/O port of a classic Nico animated cat program from old school Macs and other platforms. The cute kitty will run around the display, lick its paws, and as you can see, take cat naps when it feels like it. When it reaches the edge of the display, it will stand and scratch at the edge for a little while. On touch-enabled devices, you can touch the screen to place a laser dot that the cat will chase after. Grab your PyPortal and load up this cute virtual pet now. I hope you all enjoyed this project and thank you for watching.
Okay,
Meow, meow.
time for Made in New York City factory footage. And it wouldn't be Made in New York City factory footage without our view that's now obstructed by the Disney headquarters across the street. You can see it was kind of windy I think they put these up because stuff was blowing out of the building, so they put these as they're welding and doing stuff. And that's main New York City factory footage for this week. All right, 3D printing. We're going to play the videos back to back. This week we have a couple things. So Noah and Pedro did a VU meter, and then we have this cool speed up with this neat filament.
I have a question. When somebody says you have a couple things, how many things do you think they are?
2.
You're 2 person thing.
Yes, couple is 2.
I agree that technically couple is 2,
Few is at least 3. Many is like 5 or more.
From where I grew up, couple could mean 2 or 3.
No, that's wrong.
I know it's wrong. I know it's technically it's wrong.
And let me just tell you, living a life, and especially the last couple years, 1 is none, and 2 is too few. So when we do things here at Adafruit, we make sure we have multiple backups and copies of things. We make sure that if we have something that's mission critical, like equipment, so we have 2 compressors, we have 2 pick and places. We really try to make sure our team members, if they're doing something that's really important, and they have a tool chain that they have to keep set up on their computers, we're like, well, why don't you get another computer so you always have one to hot swap out as needed. So I will even say 2 is too few. It's not even a couple.
Yeah.
It's just not enough. Anyways, that's what we've learned. We've been doing that since the very beginning of Adafruit. It was like, you know what, this is working out, let's get 2 of them. And then let's get 1 more. We did that with our internet connections too. Adafruit has multiple redundant internet connections.
True,
So we can,
and you don't need them usually, but then once in a while you do.
Yeah, I remember when it was like, wow, like all the internet for everyone in Lower Manhattan is out except for ours, because we had like a 4th other connection.
We had the backup was the FiOS connection.
Yeah.
Or the
There was
cable
there's
connection.
Yeah, and there's also a microwave dish. Anyways, we're gonna play 2 videos.
Let's do it.
Hey folks, in this video we're making a VU meter with NeoPixels and CircuitPython. This project is powered by the Adafruit QtPy RP2040 running CircuitPython. It takes audio data from a PDM microphone and maps audio levels to display NeoPixels in different colors. We designed a 3D printed snap-fit case and exposed the PDM mic on the back cover. The 3D printed grid isolates the NeoPixels, and a piece of black LED acrylic diffuses the LEDs. Liz Clark wrote the code for this project in CircuitPython. In the loop, data from the PDM microphone is scaled to fit across the 60 NeoPixels using the map range function. The NeoPixels are updated when the mic input changes from the last value. A for statement iterates through the range of input data, and an index turns the NeoPixels on from a set of colors in our array. The code is available on GitHub, and the Learn Guide features a nice breakdown of the code by Liz. We hope this inspires you to try CircuitPython for your next audiovisual projects.
Okie dokie, and don't forget, you can learn how to make all this stuff and more with NetBrader every Wednesday on 3D Hangouts, the longest running, best, and technically only live 3D printing show, but still, it counts. So watch it every single Wednesday at 11 a.m. Let's do this, Lady. Are you ready?
It's time for Eye on MPI.
Eye on MPI, brought to you by Adafruit and DigiKey. Lady, what is Eye on MPI this week?
This week's Eye on MPI is from Authenttrend, and it's a USB security dongle that's FIDO2 compatible. And folks who remember the series that I did on IoT security, one of the things that I really talked about was that you really don't want to roll your own like security management for keys. You don't want to store them. You don't want to like come up with your own encryption authentication system. Another thing is you really can't trust your microcomputer or microcontroller cryptographic storage internally. Like all we hear all the time, whether it's online or at like, Hope or other HackerCon or DEF CON or whatever, or CCC, is people cracking microcontrollers and getting keys out of them, secure keys. And so, nothing is ever fully 100% secure, but a lot of times you can kind of outsource your security to a very specialized piece of hardware. I personally think that's the way to go, rather than trying to like hide the XOR keys inside your flash memory and then encrypting it, because all I've seen is that doesn't quite work. So what I like about this is that this company makes like a couple pieces of hardware, and it's like the one thing they do, and they're designed for security. And what's neat about these is you can use them in your project. So there's 4 models, but this is the one I'll talk about. This is a fingerprint sensor enabled FIDO2 USB key. So this is a USB-A key. There's also a USB-C version. There's also, I'll show you, there's a card version with BLE and NFC in it. There's a button, because sometimes you need a little button to like activate, but there's also a fingerprint sensor on the end. And you can program your fingertip on it. It doesn't take the whole fingertip, obviously, just like the middle part. But you can use that as part of your authentication. So what's neat is I was able to use this with Windows. I didn't get the one that's Windows Hello friendly. There's actually one that's specifically for Windows Hello. I got like the FIDO2 one. But I said, okay, I wanted to add a security key, plug it into USB. And then you have to touch the fingerprint sensor. And if you have a phone with a fingerprint sensor, like you touch it multiple times and multiple angles. And then the little fingerprint kind of fills up. And then it's like, okay, great. It's all set. And then, now you can add a PIN code if you want to, like have another thing for identification. But pretty much the hardware now knows your fingerprint and will use that for authentication. You can also use it to like test your, you can touch it to authenticate to make sure it's you. So that's good. And you also tried it with WebAuthn, which is, your Google account, for example. I have 2-factor on my Google account. So do you. Yeah. I made another Google account to test this with. But instead of using Google Authenticator app or Authy or SMS, you can actually use one of these dongles in your computer and with the fingerprint sensor as well. So in your Google account, turn on 2-factor, and then it works with Windows. Whoops, sorry, exciting. It works with your Windows security setup. Knows about the key. You touch the key and it matches your fingerprint, and then you can add it. And then whenever you have to 2-factor in, you can use. You can have multiple, so you can have either the key or you can have it also like send you a text message or whatever. But I like this because it's like a physical thing, and so it kind of hits that like, you want something which is a password and a username, something you have, which is the key, and something you are, which is the fingerprint sensor. So it's really protected against theft, because like you need to steal a lot to get this. So it's like very high-end security, like military level security, but it's like $40, and it works with a lot of things. And then this is what it looks like after it's set up. And this is when I logged in, and it's like, okay, making sure it's you, and then it's like, boom, you're set. So what's nice about this also is it uses the FIDO2 specifications. So this was a consortium of companies. Google was part of it, and I think YubiKey also, and a couple other companies, and they sort of came up with an open standard for how the FIDO and U2F USB keys and NFC and BLE interface work, so that all the hardware kind of interworks with each other, but also all these companies agree that this is all a secure system. And so I like that it's kind of an open standard. You don't even have to log in to download the specifications. Looking at you, BLE Bluetooth Consortium, for making me have an account. You don't. You can just download them and implement and integrate this security into your product. So, you may not want this for logging into Windows or Google, but you may be making a hardware product that needs really good biometric authentication. And, we sell fingerprint sensors and everything, but they can't store private keys. You can't use them as part of a challenge response system to secure the account, to authenticate the account securely. Instead, I would tell people, use this. This is designed for it. And because it's USB, you can plug it into any single board computer. And you probably could even port it to a microcontroller with a USB host because it's not that complicated. If you want to interface with it, and you're not using web authentication, I actually downloaded, in 5 minutes I got this going. I downloaded Python FIDO2, which is by YubiKey, who is part of the consortium. I pip installed it, and then I ran get info, and it was yep, I identified the FIDO key that's plugged into your USB. And then there's a demo called authenticate, and it worked. It was plug it in and you touch it, and it will only print out the authentication data if you touch it correctly with the correct finger and have the right dongle plugged in. And so this looks like it would be a very easy way to integrate into your existing product. And it's okay that it's all in Python because the challenge and response stuff, it can be clear text, and it doesn't matter because it's end-to-end authenticated from the host, which has the matching challenge response, private key information, and the device. So that it's secure without having to worry about dealing with all of that management yourself. It's all kind of abstracted out by the FIDO2 interface, which I like. And I think that this is the future. I think passwords are over. We're getting close to the point where people use their phones or their watches or USB dongles as a way of authenticating. And personally, I think we should probably not have passwords. We're not. It didn't really work out. A little bit like tool chains. I'm really anti-tool chain.
It got us here.
Yeah, it got us here.
But it's time to evolve to the next thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I have a password keeper and everything, and it's secured. And I could probably add this, 3-factor to my USB.
I think you just need to do layers and layers. That's how we do the things here.
Well, some things are really important, some things are not, right? So I think that for the stuff that you really want to have secured and have biometric security, this is a fingerprint sensor on a USB stick. The price is really good. You get all that stuff, and it's secured, and it's USB. Yeah. And it works with the standard, and it's going to be way cheaper than trying to do it yourself in a product. So, there could be we know people who've worked on kiosks for the TSA. That's an example where you definitely want to have biometric security. You want to know who is logging in, and you shouldn't be able to just use somebody else's password if you're accessing important data. So I think this is a good idea for people to add into their products.
Okay, and we have a video, and then we're going to show the location of it on the DigiKey.
And also I'll show it on the overhead too.
Okay, let me do the video, and we'll see you on the other side. It's only a minute and a half.
We live in a technology-enabled world, but there are times when technology lets us down. Take passwords, for instance. For users, they're clumsy, hard to remember, and they need to be changed all the time. For businesses, passwords just don't provide the security necessary to keep important data from falling into the wrong hands. With over 80% of corporate data breaches being caused by stolen or weak user credentials, the time for improvement in user authentication is now. And that's where the FIDO Alliance comes in. FIDO, or Fast Identity Online, is a consortium of the world's leading technology companies dedicated to changing the way online authentication is done. We're establishing technical standards that provide interoperable mechanisms that are far more secure and easier to use than passwords. From biometrics such as fingerprints and facial scans to second-factor authentication devices, FIDO's standards are allowing companies and service providers to better serve their customers and employees. Core to the FIDO approach is a personal device, like a PC, smartphone, or security key that uses a set of cryptographic keys to securely access FIDO-enabled services such as Google, Facebook, or PayPal. FIDO authentication data, such as biometrics, is never stored with the service, which protects the user's privacy and shields their login credentials from hackers. But the best part is that users no longer have to choose between better security or a better user experience. With FIDO, they get both. Over 600 interoperable products have been FIDO certified, and FIDO enabling your product or service is easier than ever. FIDO provides a set of universal specifications to build to, and a rich ecosystem of products and services to enable turnkey deployment. Visit our website for more information on how to deploy FIDO authentication today. With FIDO, our technology...
Okay.
Okay, so this is, I have two of the devices. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit because these are a little small. Okay, 1 second. Sorry. Hello. So let me back it off a little bit. You can do it. Okay, so this is the NFC. I think this does NFC and BLE and USB. So it has, you can do, you can see here the USB, BLE, and NFC. So this one's a little bit more expensive, but you can do USB connectivity. It's also got NFC, so you can, touch, I guess you press your finger while you touch authenticate, or BLE, so it's wireless, and you can kind of see the card inside. It's a little thick, but it does fit in a wallet.
Yeah.
It's also got a button if you need to, and then, you put your finger in, and you can use that to authenticate your finger biometrics. And then this is the USB dongle. So for this, you can see there's this fingerprint, capacitive fingerprint sensor on the back. Like a little touchpad, but for fingerprints, and then a button, and then this is a USB-C, and there's, of course, also have a USB-A type.
Okay, cool. And the best part about all this, it's available on DigiKey.
Yes, and it's in stock.
Yeah.
Which is
Here's
very
a
nice.
short URL, and there is the DigiKey.
Yes, this is the A type, but of course, they have the C in that card. So, pick the one that makes sense for your application. But, it's a standard, so it's like you give users whatever. Some users have a MacBook, they get the C. If some users have, a Windows Dell or laptop or Linux desktop computer, they can use the A, and no matter what, they can interface with the hardware.
All right, and that's on MPI.
On MPI.
Okay, before we go over new products, don't forget the code is Interstate, and you get all those free things if you fill up your cart with stuff, and you can use the discount code Interstate. All right, LadyAda, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. New. Okay, first up.
Okay, we got a bunch of solar panels. The reason we have these solar panels is the ones that we normally get from Voltaic are not available because of shortages. So they said, look, we don't have the epoxy ones, they're beautiful and glossy, but we have ones that are the same efficiency and almost the same wattage, but with EPTFE coating, so it's a plastic coating. It's still weatherproof, and they're basically drop-in compatible. They're just not that glossy style. So there's 4 different shapes. I think it's like 1.2, 2, 3, and 5 watts. This little teeny panel, which is really adorable. This one is the only one that doesn't have the cable attached. You will have to solder wires onto the back. It's a very low-cost one. I'll say one thing to watch out for is some of these are 5 volts, and then one of them is 6 volts. I don't remember exactly which, but check the tech specs. Some of them have 10 cells, which is a 5-volt panel, and some have 12 cells, which makes it a 6-volt panel. Why does this matter? Well, probably doesn't, and our solar charger boards can use either. But if you're expecting a particular open cell voltage, it will be different, right? Depending, your 6-volt panel nominal will have an open cell voltage of like 7.5 volts, and your 5-volt nominal open cell will be like 6.75 or something. So it's just something to watch out for. But other than that, these are quite nice. These are handsome little panels. Maybe I'll show one on the overhead. Sorry, I'm going to move this because it looks like a black square. Okay, so you can even
It's a new iPad.
you can even kind of see this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this has 10 cells, these thin cells. They're monocrystalline. They're 22% efficient. There's like mounting slots on the outside. It comes with the, this kind of standard 3.5 millimeter, 1.3 millimeter inner diameter plug, which is used by Voltaic. But we have an adapter that you can use with this to give you 2.1 millimeter. And then each one is categorized. So I think this is the peak, MPPT, peak voltage and current rating, and then when it was manufactured in their product ID. So there's this one. There's this one, which is a very cute one. This one is about 2 watts. This one is about 5 watts, a little bit more than 5 watts, a little bit more than 2 watts. This little baby is 1.2 watts, so very small. But this is actually a good size for many projects. Gives you about 200 milliamps or so. Let's see, current, about 200 milliamps or so. And then the Big Bertha, which is the 10 watt panel. So this will give you up to 2 amps in direct sunlight. So it's so big it doesn't even fit under the overhead. But they're all very good. And then, while we're waiting for the epoxy panels to be manufactured again and available, these are a very good alternative.
Okay. Next up.
Oh, this is kind of a weirdo thing. So this is something somebody sent us, and I was like, well, I don't know how useful it is, but it might be useful, so I'll carry it because they're pretty cheap. This is called a jig, J-I-G. And they're used, traditionally they're used for people who have Samsung phones with a micro USB on the Go slot, and you would use this to get it into debug mode or like bootloader mode. Even if it's like, kind of seems bricked, this would usually resuscitate the phone. It basically has a resistor. I think it's got a 300K resistor from the ID pin, right, pin 4 of the micro USB, used for the on-the-go identification, to ground. And I thought this could be useful for some other things. Like, sometimes you want a dummy slot. Like, you want to kind of convince something that there is a device connected to USB.
Yeah, you have to do that with like HDMI stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I just was like, this is one of those like, well, look, it's only like $1, so we might as well get a couple and try them out. I haven't tried this on a Samsung phone. I did open it up and there is a resistor. It's epoxied, so it's kind of like I couldn't really open it up and show, but there is a resistor inside, and I think it could be useful for other stuff as well. So Samsung phone, debricking, go for it. But anything else where you need to convince a device that there is a USB on-the-go cable attached with something connected with the ID pin connected to ground, this might be handy. And tell us about it, because we'd love to know why.
All right. Star show tonight besides you, LadyAda, our team, our customers, our community, everyone in chat is...
This is the Interstate 75. This is a board from Pomeroni, and they love blinky stuff. And this board looks a little familiar because it looks like they were thought that the Matrix Portal was a really cool board design. So why not make a version with the RP2040? Why not, indeed? And so they did, and it looks great. So it's got a connector for a Hub 75 standard, up to 64 by 64 size panel. It's got the E address. It's got some extra GPIO brought out. It's got power pins. You can power it via USB-C, which is fine. You can get a couple amps from USB-C, and of course you can always disconnect the power and connect it separately if you want to have separate power. And inside there you can see there's an RP2040, what looks like about 2 megabytes of flash memory, STEM QT, quick connector. It's got, sorry, I didn't finish there. It's got... looks like an RGB LED just for indication, level shifters, reset boot switch, and debug port
It's an
stuff.
RP2040. Can it run CircuitPython?
It can run CircuitPython.
There you go.
You can definitely use it with CircuitPython, and we've got core support in the RP2040 for Protomatter, which is the the driver for RGB matrices. They have their own version that uses PIO, which is faster refresh rate, but is less integrated with MicroPython and the display system. And you have to really manually do everything. Whereas what's nice about if you use CircuitPython is you can use any font you want. and you can do like sprite maps and graphics and animations and align things, and you can have the REPL show up on it. So all that good stuff. But you can use either. The hardware is agnostic. But it doesn't have the ESP32, so it can't do Wi-Fi on its own. On the other hand, it is less expensive because it doesn't have an extra Wi-Fi chip.
Maybe everything doesn't need to be online.
It doesn't need to be online. This is good if you need
All right,
an air
do you
gap
want-
solution.
Do you want to show it on the overhead or
Yeah, I can show it. I mean, it's kind of the same demo. This is
Okay.
the MicroPython demo.
Looks
you
good
can
on the
see
overhead.
it's not. Yeah, you can see it's got good dithering, good bit depth. This is a 32 by 64 matrix, and it's kind of cute. Sits on the back here, and then you can have the power cable connected through, and you can, mount it however you like. So,
Yeah.
you can chain panels. If you have another panel, you can chain it, and just you tell the software, hey, there's more panels. So this
All
is
right,
a
and then-
kilo board.
Hold it up. Does it reach? Yeah, so you can see how this looks. And this is all bright in here, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love these little panels. They're so
Yeah,
adorable.
they look
And we
good.
stock the panels, so it's an easy pick up whatever panel size you want, because we got a good supplier now, and
And that
add in
is
Interstate 75.
new products. Okay, don't forget, you can use the code, buy these things, and you get that free stuff. Let's do some top secret while folks load up their questions in Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. Join us over there. Let's do some top secret
Yes.
while the questions come in. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. First top secret, this is going to be me. And then you're going to do your thing.
Okay.
All right, so I think we're going to try to do a run of these shirts eventually because people are going to start going outside again. And I don't want to do like a tech t-shirt. So you actually met an artist who does textiles and stuff like that. So this is my wave bubble shirt. And I'm going to zoom
This is
into
ancient.
it. Yeah, this was one of the things that I wanted to do was a line of shirts with LadyAda's design. So this is a schematic of a cell phone jammer, and it also jams Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and everything. What's cool is people can debate the legality of making cell phone jammers and all that, and they can debate the legality of your existence, LadyAda. But what they can't debate is you could put it on a shirt,
And it looks cool on a
and
shirt.
it looks cool. And so
Nice freaking t-shirt.
nice
a
freaking.
t-shirt.
Well, it's a button-down shirt.
It's a button-down, nice freaking button-down shirt.
So we might do that, and depending on what people think, and I put on the socials, and so far it seems like people want to do them. So this is maybe it's coming soon. We'll see. LadyAda, I put this up online, and I said, "Hey, everybody, what do you think this is?" I gave them some guesses, and for the
That's
folks
a cool one.
for the folks who guessed the thing that bugged Neo in the Matrix, you're right. This is what we're making.
What a cool animation.
Yeah. So what is this though?
This is a single tube VFD because I wanted to make it trinky with the single VFD tube because I think that's important. I think that'll be useful for people. So I did start getting the pinouts checked out and the voltages checked out on this tube, and I got it glowing. So I was able to get the design going, and hopefully we'll get prototypes soon.
Okay, and you wanted to show.
Oh, I didn't bring stuff. I was like, I thought we would just do videos later tonight.
Okay, yeah, we will. So,
Is that okay? I mean,
yeah,
I
that's
really-
great. So the good news is, after this, we're gonna make more hardware and we're gonna film more stuff. And I have 2 videos I'm gonna post later. But that right now is gonna be the top secret for this week. We have a lot of stuff that we're working on.
Yeah.
It's been 24/7 here. Okay, so I'm going to start getting to the questions. One question that I think that's funny because the little hot plate is so popular, the mini hot plate, that I actually
I love the little hot
I made a short URL. So for Super Flounder, it's adafruit.com/mini hot plate. So every time we do
I know. I gotta
time
add
lapse,
it to time lapse.
well, every time we do a time lapse with it, the time lapse is fun, and you're amazing. You can do reflow and all this stuff, but as soon as the little hot plate comes out,
I
everyone's
know.
like, "Oh, it's so cute!"
No, it is
So
really
cute.
dope. But here's the thing:
Yeah.
if you're making little boards that are like 1 inch by 1 inch, it's perfect because it heats up in like
Yeah.
a minute and a half. It's like I have larger hot plates that I've used, but like I'm actually better off. It's like it's more fun to just use the mini hot plate for small designs,
Okay.
and then just use the oven for bigger ones.
Here we go. I understand the current flaws with NFTs, but I'm curious opinion about the future of blockchain technology, like in case hypothetically the current environment and ethical concerns were resolved. Do you see a need for an underlying technology in the future? Would it be better if it was shifted more of a global web host for a ledger of JPEGs? I know it's a very touchy subject. I'm curious possibilities of where this technology could lead. So here's the good news. We've been doing databases forever, with computers. And
This is like the first thing we did.
Yeah.
We love storing data on computers.
And there's so much money and there's so many people trying to find a use for this thing, blockchain technology and all that.
Yeah.
The good news is Adafruit has nothing to do with it. We don't have to, our existence has nothing to do with these
Whether it
things.
succeeds or fails, it
Yeah.
doesn't affect us.
Yeah, and so
it's a shame that it never became a practical currency. Like that was
oh,
the
you mean
dream.
as far as Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that was the dream, and it clearly did not happen at all. And I don't think it's even like early. I think it's like it came and went, and it didn't happen. And I think it just it just isn't the right solution, and we should look for something else. I don't know.
I'll answer the question a different way. Generally speaking, I'm optimistic. I'm technology optimistic, and I think sometimes when new things come along, they're not great. And when new things come along, a lot of the people that are involved are not great. And there's a gold rush, a land grab. There's all sorts of things. But eventually that goes away, and there's really good technologies that come out, and there's very impactful things that humans can do. And I kind of look at it like AI. So whatever happens with AI, whatever it evolves to, the people that make it, we need to be good people, and we need to be good to one another. Because if we're going to make things that think, we have to put our house in order first. And I really hope we work on ourselves before we decide to give inanimate objects a bunch of anxiety. It'd be nice for us to get our shit together as a culture and as a society, as a species, before we start turning, inanimate objects into things with feelings. Anyways, that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Okay.
More
next
questions.
up, is that T-shirt open source? Yeah, of course. If we make any shirt, the design will be open source. We'll be able to do things. Just don't make an NFT out of it. Next up, other questions. I put a link to the mini hot plate in there. Any update on the release date of the QT Py ESP32, and with component shortages, it challenges deciding how many to launch when you're planning on launching?
It'll
the
probably be out in a
PCB?
couple of weeks.
Okay.
Waiting for getting the PCBs in, and of course there's Lunar New Year. Everything's kind of delayed, but the parts are not a problem for that. The Espressif chips I've been able to get fairly easily. They're on top of it. RP24s and ESP32s have been quite easy to get.
Okay. Can Adafruit design a Raspberry Pi for mini IPS2 or like a RetroPie DS using two screens like the original?
We could, but I don't have any plans to. But you could take two of our screens and wire them up, and it would just work. You can definitely access two screens using the two CS pins on the Raspberry Pi. There's actually a second I2C port, like we did for the Monster Eyes project.
Question. I love that the Stemma QT 7-segment display stuff. Question about the 7-segment LCDs. A while back, I restored an old Keithley Bench multimeter with a fresh TN LCD display. I really love the look and the low power consumption Alpha America LCD displays. DigiKey usually has some in stock, but I don't see a lot of projects with them. Have you guys tried build stuff around LCDs?
You might like next week's new product. It's a Stemma QT TN LCD.
I like the threaded standoffs that use with the i75 RP2040 board and your macro pad. Where can I find these?
Yeah, these are, we use them because they allow, they mechanically bond to the PCB. They're actually quite inexpensive, and it allows, creating of an enclosure quite easily. I actually don't know of an American source for them. They're called SMT nuts. That's like literally the name because they're nuts, but they're surface mount programmable. I think DigiKey may stock them. Maybe I'll do an Ion MPI, a great search where I show it off because it's, some people have asked, but yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yep. Okay.
I think we stock them. We stock a couple sizes in the Adafruit shop, by the way, if you're looking. We have a couple of different
love
packs.
for Adafruit to carry a USB-C PD buck supply modules. Not anywhere in the U.S. yet.
The what?
Do you know what these are? USB-C PD buck supply modules.
Yeah, I don't. There's not a lot of USB-C PD stuff that I've gotten that has been reliable.
Do we ever sleep? Yeah, last night I did. We're on almost opposite schedules right now. So January was like a year long, and we just had a lot of stuff to keep our team safe and keep Adafruit going. So I was getting up really early, and first it was like 5, and when we started doing Adafruit together, I would get up at 5 and go get postal bins, and then I would do all the shipping, and it was like 5 in the morning because we made an arrangement with the local post office, and they would stop by at like 6 a.m. so I'd get the first orders out. And but lately, fast forward 10, 15 years later, there's so much stuff I have to get done. And then as soon as everyone gets into the office around 7 or 8, and then we have an on-site meeting, and I'm here for that. And then I come back home, and then I get more spun up. It started getting earlier and earlier. So now it's been 4 a.m. You're going to bed at 4 a.m., and I'm...
Yeah, I have to start pushing I have to get...
yeah.
Well, I'm up till 2, so like...
I'm waking up at 4, and you're going to bed at 4.
Midnight to 2 is like this golden time in which I can like get so much done because I'm getting no emails, no pings, nothing is happening, nobody's around, and I can have like 2 very dedicated hours. But unfortunately, then it takes me like an hour to wind down after doing a bunch of engineering because it kind of like amps you up a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like 3 o'clock is usually when I pass out, but I can't do that anymore. I gotta like...
And
dial back a little bit.
Folks were asking if we own Radio Shack yet. No, but we did interview. So when I was
We do not own Radio
yeah.
Shack, guys.
So when I was at
Stop
Make,
it.
when I was at Make, I worked with Radio Shack. When I was in advertising, worked with Radio Shack, and then with Adafruit, I've interviewed 2 or 3 of the new owners of Radio Shack. I kind of measure time and who owns Radio Shack now. So right now, it's a brand that's owned. There are some independent franchises that are still around, but we don't own Radio Shack. We're fans. We have a hack sign. We just took the last bit, Radio Shack.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, since folks are talking about blockchain and crypto and NFTs, here's another thing that I really like about our community. People can disagree about the directions of some of these technologies. They could disagree about how they're being implemented. But you know what I like about our community that we have at Adafruit is there's ways to discuss it in a rational way that's respectful for one another.
Yeah.
And that's what people do in our Discord, so it's moderated. There's other chats, there's Twitter, there's YouTube, there's all this stuff. And it's so polarizing, discussing anything. So you can't, either you love Amazon or you hate them. You love Google or you hate them. There's nothing in between anymore. You're either this or you're that. You're canceled, boycotted, all that stuff. But what I like in our community is people are able to say, oh, there's things that I'm working on. There's technologies I'm curious about. And they're able to discuss it in a way that's respectful for one another, even if there's technology that you and I don't like. We just don't like it. But it has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
And we could still, and it's interesting though. And like I said, I think...
Like I'm not a big fan of ham radio, so you know what I did? I went and got an extra license.
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm going to dislike something, I'm going to like be certified in it.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I had a
I don't like robotics either, so I made a robotics board. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to prove to myself
yeah.
that I really don't like it
And
by doing a very good job at it.
And I think it's, in my one stage of my career when I was in advertising, I think everyone agrees, like, advertising could be terrible, it could be the worst thing, but it's also a fantastic way to communicate things, and good information can be advertising. Adafruit does advertising, but in a very different way. We do open source code, and we publish it, and people share it. That is a form of advertising, but I had to learn that by, like, working on, like, a Super Bowl commercial before and, like, other things, because it's like, oh, like, it depends on how you use it, and it also depends on the persons and what their moral compass is. So anyways, I really want to compliment everyone that our community, you can discuss things and people are respectful, and that's and I think that's one of the things that we can be the example, and I think that's why we're held to a higher standard. I get it, and we also there's more scrutiny on us, but I'm all for it now, because with greatness comes responsibility.
Yes.
I think that was inspiring.
Okay,
right?
any last questions?
That's it.
All right.
We're going to bounce. We want to get out of here right
Gotta go.
right at now.
Right at now.
Thank you so much, everybody,
Thanks,
for
everybody.
joining us. That was our show. Thank you to Takara, who's running the Slack chat behind the scenes. Hello, Takara. And then thank you, everyone in the chat, all the different chats. Thanks for the folks that were helping out with some of the moderation stuff on YouTube tonight. And special thanks to all of our customers for keeping us going. Don't forget, don't pay full price. Use a discount. Use a discount code. It's fine. We want you to do it. I mean, you can pay full price if you want, but you don't want to do that. This expires around 11:59, or I'm probably going to fall asleep before midnight, and then I'm going to turn it off when I wake up at like 4. So use it. We'll see everybody
Use it or lose it.
later. This was an Adafruit production. Here is your moment of Zener. We'll see everybody next week.
Bye, everybody.